Robby's World, episode 19, coming in hot. Lots going on today. I almost forgot we had this one, but Martin reminded me that I have my boy Casey Gerlach from PinUp Presents on the show tonight. So, Martin, thank you, and Casey, welcome. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me. I'm stoked to be on.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. This came together pretty quick, so I know you were working today, your day job. So what is that?
I work at the Eric's Deli in Redwood City. I'm the manager there. Funny.
That's good to know because I want to open up a deli and I'm looking for experienced people. It's going to be like a rock and roll deli, and because we're all musicians, so we need to talk. That's pretty good.
That'd be really tight. Yeah, dude, let's definitely collab on that, dude.
Let's go. And then I want you to shout out your fiance. Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
We might just spend half of this episode talking about love and commitment and how to build a strong relationship and the music scene. But yeah, shout her out, and we want to follow her streaming. Yeah. Is it Twitch, I'm assuming? So yeah, give some love to her.
Yeah, her name is Shelby Osage. Love her to death. She's a streamer, and she was very nice to let me use her station. Her stream handle is the Wing Leader on Twitch.
Okay, dope.
So yeah, she plays a lot of Apex, a lot of Fallout 76, but yeah, she's a good time.
Yeah, it makes you look so legit, dude.
Oh yeah, exactly. I look like I know what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, like there's gonna be little like things popping up, and you're like, "Ooh, new subscriber!" Like shout out to freaking Pwn69 for I don't even know. So yeah, I'm not a streamer yet, but I'm working on it. So good to know I could talk to you about delis and streaming. But dude, the music scene, like I wanted to get you on here. I saw you post something on Jared Stossel's. He was a guest, and we've been on each other's podcasts back and forth. But let's just hop into this because this is the reason why I wanted to talk to you, and then we can expand on this and then talk a little bit about your life, your band, of course, and then what it was like before the pandemic, what it was like during the pandemic, and then what we were really going to be focusing on, music scene and trying to build that community back up after the pandemic. So Jared wrote, local show promoters, what are some of the most difficult aspects of your job? And what do you wish people knew about the work that you did? And then I'll just remind you what you said. Basically, that you're talking about, it's hard to pay everyone fairly. You're willing to bet on themselves to pull a crowd to justify the compensation they're asking for. So you'll talk a little bit about that. And then bands want to dictate who they play with, what venue they play at, what lineup they have. You talk a little bit about someone named Derek who commented that you don't think a lot of people understand how much we gamble on each show and what we cover as they expect venues to cover everything. Yes, that's funny. Expenses, overhead. Yeah, no one thinks about that ever. Even in the restaurant industry, it's just like the music business. Like people don't get it. Like, well, I can get this at McDonald's for $2. And it's like, yeah, but we don't have McDonald's, expenses and overhead. You talk about venues, bars having expectations. So that's a really good thing for young bands to learn and know about, because half the time it's not even ticket sales, right? It's alcohol sales that they're after.
Absolutely.
Okay, so anything out of that, you don't have to expand on all that, but what do you think maybe 2 or 3 of the key points there that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, it really I'll bring up compensation because it's to a lot of people the most important factor or a very big part, and not just for the artists, but for the staff involved and the venue. And so there's just this weird balance of, bands asking for guarantees, and of course they ask higher than they probably deserve. It's part of the negotiation tactic.
Yeah.
And then also paying your staff. A lot of people like myself, when I joined PinUp, I didn't want to be paid. I was trying to give back to the scene. Unless Joel forced me to take money, I never did at the beginning.
Yeah.
Then I got the job at the X Bar as a booker. I was like, okay, I can do this, and
that's some value. Now you can talk. Yeah,
exactly. Now I can, do a bit more because I get paid by the venue, and it doesn't take away from the company I'm trying to help build, or my staff that's working under me. I'm able to pay them through the door, and then also pay bands, especially bands that draw well. You need to reward them, kind of thing.
So, because you want to build that relationship. And you said something key there. Your staff at the X Bar, which is a little different than what PinUp used to do, because when I was working with PinUp and for PinUp, and you almost got PinUp tattooed across our heads at one point when we were building that in Andrew's backyard. But Yeah, we never had like in-house, like a home turf. We always were so close to getting that in, and then things just get shut down left and right, and there's a whole other chapter that we can go into with what I'm there. So your staff at the X Bar, which gives PinUp the leg up in that relationship, so that brings the value. So you get paid through X Bar, and then you're also helping out PinUp on that end as well.
Yeah, that's correct. So
but people got to come through the door and drink and have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. So like for me, like the X Bar pays me. They don't pay my staff. They don't pay anything else.
Okay, they pay you to put on the show or fill the room or whatever.
Exactly.
And then you go hire the promoters and the staff and the sound and.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it's like I bring in outside promoters that do shows and they can staff the show. I have a few different options, just depending.
Gotcha. But they got to deal with you because you're the gatekeeper there.
Yeah, exactly. So like basically we do have our own sound guys at the show, unless people want to bring their own system in, just because we don't want anything to be broken or stolen. So that's one thing that I'm like, hey, you either need to use our house sound guy or bring your own equipment kind of thing. But different production companies or bookers, some people don't even have staff, so they'll basically hire the PinUp staff, and then anything that
to put on the show, but it's not a PinUp show or whatever.
Exactly. And then for me,
it's all coming back to me now.
Right? And then
I'm gonna get underneath the table and start shaking pretty soon. But
and then everything that I book is a PinUp show, basically. So if I book the bands, it's just automatically a PinUp show. If other promoters come in, it's their own show, and it's just an X Bar / that show.
Gotcha. And so you manage the calendar and everything and the emails. You're the booking. You're the go-to guy, huh?
I do. Yeah, I have my own PinUp email, and I have my own or not my own X Bar email, but they make me
But that's you manage that. How did you get involved with PinUp, and then how did you get involved with the X Bar, and how long ago? And like, what were you doing? Like, I mean, were you in high school or middle school when 5 characters was around, or like?
No. I did play PinUp shows when I was in high school for sure, but how I got involved in the working side, I want to say 2014, maybe it's kind of a blur. 2014, 2015, maybe.
I feel like that's right when I kind of left the scene, because we were like traveling, doing like this whole college battle thing. I don't even know if you know about that. We were buying back textbooks and shit, and then we were trying to figure out what the next PinUp. And then, like my band 5 characters kind of dropped off, and then I was trying to open a restaurant. That was 2014, and then Joel kind of took over, and then I knew he had you and a few other guys. So I was like, oh, this is cool. So that's kind of cool. Like, I just missed you. But,
yeah.
Okay, so I got the timeline. So 2014, you get involved.
Yeah, so I was in a tech death band called Behold the Desecration. I was a guitarist.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, we played with you guys before, and my old band did too, but we won't talk about that.
Was it like a pop band, or was it like
no? It was a metal. It was like a death metalcore band. It was a weird, like, not death. Some songs were like death metal, and then some songs were like metalcore. It was weird.
You'll tell me about this after. It's so funny that people are like I think I was watching Joel Cupcake, obviously PinUp. Yeah. He was interviewing Darius from Spite, and like Darius wouldn't mention his old bands. Like, it's just so funny how like people are embarrassed.
Amolograma.
No, I think they were talking about She's an Animal.
well, She's an Animal was Amolograma was even older than that. So
yeah, and then he was probably in 2 more before that. We used to play with over at the Red House. So we'll talk about that later. Well, by the way, what's your current band? So people
it's called Lost to the Void, and I'm actually the vocalist. Started out as a guitarist in the band, but just after pretty much the first year, around that time, just made sense for me to shift to vocals when our current vocalist was just I guess just not getting down to business. Still love you, Adam, but we just had to make a switch, and we had a guy that was our bassist best friend that we're all cool with that was down to play guitar for us. So I
was looking for the long sleeve that you gave me, but like I'm in and out of like extra larges, and I literally just worked out. I was eating dinner, and then Martin texted me. So this is social union project. It's not a band, but
it's all good.
I'll rock it once I find out. I'll rock it in the next couple episodes. So give you guys some love.
Appreciate it. But
okay, so 2014.
I was in Behold the Desecration, and my buddy David Forrester, before he launched the SoCal PinUp branch.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm friends with him online.
He brought us into shows. Behold had played PinUp shows before, but they didn't do as much death metal, and Forrester was starting to do more death metal, so he had hit us up, and at that time I was really interested in doing the logistics of my band. I joined the band. I wasn't an original member, and there's people that are handling the booking and this or that, but they just kind of weren't consistent with it. And eventually, all right, I want to do this. I did this for my old band.
Totally.
And
that's like more than playing the shows, as you know.
Yeah.
Like,
so
everything leading up to that.
I kind of took that on, and then Forrester, like PinUp, was looking for people to help out, and like I was like, hey, I'm interested. I was like, I want to learn more about the industry, kind of thing.
Yeah. So you've never like done any like the contract booking, kind of like setting up show, like that's like the stuff PinUp did that people used to like get so mad at them about, like because they didn't understand. They just thought we were all just like making money hand over fist.
Yeah, right. Didn't realize that like you got to pay the touring bands and these big bands.
Yeah, no matter what. And,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And but yeah, so I got brought on originally as a street team member, and just doing flyering around and whatnot.
That's cool.
I kept telling Forrester like, hey, like I want to do more, and then I started working, you know, the door at shows, doing security sometimes, and then I kept telling Joel and like bugging him like, hey, like I really think I could do this booking thing. I've been playing in the scene for decades. I know a lot of bands. I think we can capitalize on death metal, because that's my forte. And he let me like add bands to shows, and then he'd be like, oh, these shows are doing pretty well. And then the first show he let me put together, granted, and you've actually did a Bay Area bandstand with them, Bowers. Julian and Brian in that band, they're not around anymore. Julian was my vocalist for this band, Behold the Desecration, and Brian was the bassist. So Julian wanted a birthday show for Bowers, so I got him a date at O'Malley's, and he basically Julian did all the legwork finding all the bands, really. But nice. The show was our.
But you had that connection, you know, and you're networking, and people work hard for people they like. So that's cool.
So Joel gave me that date, and then at that time, that was our best alcohol sales that we ever had at an O'Malley show.
Nice.
Drunk Joel just like grabs me and brings me in. He's like, I'm sorry I haven't let you do this earlier, but I want you to start booking now.
Joel's got to run the show a little bit. You know, he's got to shake the hands, kiss the babies. He can't be taking all the spotlight.
And also, like, he had to, like, you know, like, people join the team and realize it's not as glamorous.
Oh, you won't even, dude. You don't even know, man.
Yeah, so
you probably do, but like,
but so they join and quit, and I think you kind of, you know,
it's the PinUp army, man.
Yeah,
it shapes you.
A little reserved to let me start booking and whatnot. And,
that's awesome.
After that show, he was like, okay, you have one X-Bar show a month and one O'Malley show a month, and then, like, you know, as you're saying, members come and go. There was a time where I was booking every Friday and Saturday at O'Malley's because we were an in-house company there. And then like several dates at the X Bar a month until we got like the team back. So cool. I very quickly like climbed the ranks where he's like, well, I guess you're my right-hand man now because Forrester moved to SoCal, and then
Okay, cool. What's going on with the SoCal like arm of stuff? And then I know you guys just have like, you know, growing connections throughout the country and the management stuff and all that, but you're not involved in that. You're more booking.
I have nothing to do with the Southern California branch, and I have nothing to do with the artist management. I'm like 90% just X-Bar, and I'll help book other bands, or I'll help work other shows if I can. But with me working for the X-Bar, that's got to be my main focus.
Yeah, so, and that's a good home base. You know, people used to like look down on the X-Bar, and you guys are trying your best to like save face. And then the pandemic hit, and now people are begging for shows. So I love that the X-Bar is back. Like, you want to talk a little about that?
100%. Like I've been saying it because like I knew that the owners were telling me like, we're gonna make it through the pandemic. This is gonna be fine. Not that I wanted any venues to close down. I hate that because I care about the scene first and foremost.
100.
But I definitely knew that with a lot of venues closing down, bands and promoters that used to turn their nose up to the X-Bar, it's like you don't have as many options now.
Yeah, and you don't know what you got till it's gone. And
exactly. And the good thing is And I know you played there when we played with you for the Brian Shields show.
Yeah.
Beginning of 2020. The X Bar's come a long way. They've moved the stage. They raised it. There's a truss rod with lights now. They've invested in some soundproofing, and there's a patio area now, so people can bring drinks outside.
Off that back area where bands and stuff were?
So
the door that used to enter?
Yeah, the door you used to enter. You know how you enter through the bowling alley now? It's still going to be that way.
Okay.
But yeah, that door you used to enter, there's a patio area now.
Okay.
So the X Bar has been willing to invest and improve the venue. Obviously, they can't change everything all overnight. You don't have
and you don't even want to. It's like getting bad Yelp reviews. You just gotta like keep going. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
So no, they've. I've been very appreciative of them over time. Like, okay, what's the next thing we can do to make this venue better?
Because their bread and butter is the bowling alley and their own bar, or it's just that one bar. But it's food, it's alcohol, it's the bowling alley, and I'm sure they got some relief funds that they had to put towards that potentially, or they just invested. But it's all just like crazy what this pandemic forced people to do, and then also what also gave them the opportunity to do. I say this all the time, like some of the stuff that's going to be happening at Breakers pretty soon, even just how we're trying to survive. Like we're a quick service restaurant right now, like we're not serving like. It's survival mode, but it's like adapt and or die. And now it's like, places can kind of thrive. So it's good to hear that you guys had the confidence and made it through and all that good stuff. Is there anything else in that reply or that you think people absolutely need to know about life as a promoter? And then I want to talk a little bit about like how people get shows and what they can do to kind of bring value to the scene, bring value to promoters, like, and not put it all on you guys to, pack a house. Cause it's really not your responsibility. You can try as much as you want, but you're only going to get what you put in.
I'll run in real quick. Promoters understand that the venue itself cares more about alcohol sales and how many tickets you sold and like covered things. So be understanding when the owners are like, hey, I don't know about bringing this promoter back, because they look at the alcohol sales regardless how many people.
Because that's where they make their money. I mean, you make.
Yeah.
A bottle of Grey Goose costs you what, like $10, but it's like one drink and you can get like 30. I don't know. It's been a while since I bartended, but yeah, man, it's alcohol makes the freaking world go around, which is unfortunate.
But that it is what it is. That's what they're there to sell. And for bands, be flexible. Understand, especially when there's traveling bands that aren't necessarily big. We call it the old punk rock show trade of, I want to have a local opener and a local closer unless there's a big traveling headliner.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't be taking the risk anyway.
Having a local headliner and a local opener, that way you have people from the beginning and you have people at the end, and you have those traveling bands in the middle.
Yeah,
you do that for them, network with those bands, and I always try to book cohesive bands that like it makes sense to.
Totally.
That way, when you want to travel to their area, you then have a band you can hit up and be like, hey, do you want to headline or open this show for me?
Show trading was like the best for us. Like we used to go San Jose, the freaking, middle of nowhere, 209, and then we'd come back to 650. Like, we would just play areas, but we would swap, and having PinUp to support that and teach that is great.
Yeah. Try to think about the whole scene, and also not just your local scene, but the bands that are coming in too, how you can show them a good show in your area so they in turn can do that for you.
Yeah. Why do you think more bands don't do that? You think it's like an ego thing or just like ignorance thing or what?
Yeah, I just think that there's I don't want to point any fingers because most bands are pretty cool about this, but there are a lot of bands that really try to dictate like, oh, we want to play. Of course, everyone wants to play the middle of the show. That's everything. But if you're a bigger local band, headline the show. Understand that. And also, guess what? Bands that do that kind of stuff, that headline shows, those are usually the bands, and we know we'll bring a lot of people. Those are usually the bands we consider to open up when we have national packages at bigger shows. So kind of do your part if you're at that level, hey, we're a big local band. It's a
slow process, unfortunately, but everyone wants everything so quick.
Exactly.
I always was curious though, because even when we were doing this, I would go down to LA when we would be like filling calls or meeting with people. LA like shows did something weird where like they book like the openers almost as the headliner. It was like really weird where they're like the headliner actually plays third. like, do you know about those formulas? And how come that's not really like a NorCal thing or what?
Well, I mean, there's people that try to push that mentality or structure to shows. For me, I'm not about it. Like, I'm a musician first, promoter second. I think I have a pretty good, even understanding of what's fair for both sides.
To build the show and make it successful versus trying to do this basically just blunt. You're new, you play last or first. Like, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, so I will say with the LA, and I'll say a personal experience, not going to drop any band names, but
it's fine. You're so afraid to offend people. When you get a little older, you're just going to have an opinion, man. I promise you'll be fine.
So
but you're a businessman. So
my band did a run in July of 2019, and we went down to LA, and the promoter needed help finding locals. It was like a struggle. So I hit up a bunch of locals in the area, and he didn't tell me. Eventually, he got 2 other locals that weren't quite like, they were metal, but like one was more like Avenged Sevenfold. One was more like
didn't really fit the bill.
Yeah, melodic metalcore or whatever. So whatever, like we don't mind playing a mixed genre show. We knew we'd have some people out there, and then my buddy's band opened up. Like, he did take one of the locals that I found. So the way the show was structured, it was supposed to be the local opener, a local band playing second, us playing third, the band we were on the run with, the Anima Effect, who are the homies. Want to give them a shout out. Also, shout out to Decimation of Gods. They were the band that opened it. And then one of the other locals
to
close it out. That both the band that was playing second and the band that was supposed to close it out were complaining about their slots.
Because they wanted to play the LA headliner.
They wanted to play the third slot, both bands. So the headliner straight up said, "Oh, if we can't play third, our bassist or somebody has work and we'll just leave." So the promoter put them in that third slot. We played fourth, and we played fourth, and then the band we were on the run with closed the show.
Where were they from? Where was the band on the run from?
They were from Reading.
Okay, but you guys technically were like the tour package coming through, so the goal would be for that scene to bring you value and have you guys play.
Yes,
versus you just playing to an empty room potentially.
Luckily we had a good amount of people there. My fiance was living there at the time too, so she brought some people out, and we had a good crowd. And the opening band and all their friends, my homies, they stuck around even for the band we were on the run with to show support. So it wasn't completely dead, but there was definitely a walkout from.
And that puts a bad taste in your mouth, you know?
Yeah, and then not only that, the band that was second, we overheard them complain, or the band we were on the run with overheard them complaining about playing second. So they were like, whoa.
Wait, that was the other band complaint? That was the second and the headliner? Or the third?
Both locals we didn't know complained about either playing second or closing. So the opener that they were like, man, I wish we knew. We would have headlined the show. We could have had those 2 other bands play and get out of here, and we could have.
Oh, the openers were cool.
The openers were my homies that I hit up.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
And they said, "Damn, I wish we knew this. We would have headlined, and those guys could have played and kicked rocks, kind of thing." But,
and those were the 2 bands that didn't even really fit the bill, but there was miscommunication.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the music industry. What are you gonna do? Do you still work with that promoter? Was he bummed, or he or she bummed? Or was it just, I mean, it's hard to even get.
I would probably hit up PinUp SoCal next time. The
reason that's cool. So it grew.
We didn't do PinUp SoCal that time because the band we were on the run with, it was like his brother-in-law or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
He was the promoter.
That.
Next time I think I'm gonna book the LA date.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And then one connection is better than none, and everyone has different reasons for being in bands. Some people like the logistics part more. Some people just live for the stage. Some people just like to get drunk in the parking lot, and they don't last very long. But what are you seeing now with like local bands? What can they do to kind of get on your radar? And think about like us in high school. If we heard about this Robby's World guy and we wanted to get a hold of Casey, like what are some of the old tricks that still work, and what's some new tricks? Like what can bands do to really get into the fold and start becoming the local and then the national and then going from there?
I would say my email is casey@pinuppresents.net. Shoot me an email with a sample of your music. If you don't have, you can describe what kind of genre of music too. So I kind of know how to categorize, like, okay, this is like the kind of band I'd put you on. And yeah, just be easy to work with, and like understand the first booking is kind of a feel out to see how you draw kind of thing, and like what bills I think you could fit on kind of thing.
Cool. So you want to get that really good first impression. A trick that 5 Characters used to do is we would play places that we wanted to establish ourselves in, and then we would rent vans and bring 15 to 30 people with us. And then we'd never have to do that again, because the promoter was like so stoked that this new band just brought 30 kids. So it was worth kind of the investment. And if you can negotiate a guarantee, it kind of pays for itself. So it's like the snake feeding itself the tail. And also, we were actually good. No, get me. We're good now. I didn't think we were back then, but little tricks like that. But yeah, first impressions are huge on promoters, and yeah, don't expect the promoters to carry all the weight. Like really do that first impression, and then you separate yourself. Okay, so after that, then what happens?
Don't be scared if you get big things. Everyone has this connotation of pre-sales. Pre-sales are good. It forces you to go out there, because closed mouths don't get fed. Just like you secure your own draw by hitting up people with tickets, then you know at least those people are coming to your show.
People are invested in you. You're invested in yourselves. Now PinUp's invested in you, or whatever venue, you know. But don't do the pay-to-play stuff. That's not what pre-sales
no pay-to-play.
I used to have to explain that over and over.
Yeah, it's like, no, we're not.
Kids would want to play with Lionheart, and I was like, pre-sales. Like, we don't pay-to-play. It's like, oh my god, but you're trying to skip over all these bands that have been in the ranks this whole time.
It's not like, hey, you have to sell these many tickets. Just the more you sell, the better. And guess what? If we cover expenses, the local bands get paid too. That like, got to reward them with it.
Why do you think people don't like the pre-sale thing? Do you think it is the one-on-one and the asking and the salesmanship of that?
A lot of people have this weird idea that, oh, it's on the promoters to bring out people. Let me tell you, people don't come out to shows because, oh, this guy's putting on or that. They care about the bands.
That's true.
You have to, and I think they have a misconception of, like you said, the difference between pay to play and pre-sales kind of thing. And a lot of people just don't want to do that work. They don't want to like knock on doors or hit people up with messages, for sure.
Yeah, it's the fear of rejection. But I'm in sales, and I've been more of an extrovert my whole life. So I'm just learning to get those no's quick. Oh, you don't want to come on my show? Next person.
Exactly.
Yeah, and when you find those people who hustle in the scene, like, it does make a difference. I think that's how I met Kevin Burr. Is that his name? He was just like messaging and hustling. It was like a Norman Jean show. And even though I didn't buy a ticket from him because I think I was already going, like, we became friends that way. So like, just building the relationships, tickets can just be that vessel. So we got a couple more seconds. I just want to go ahead and put PinUp up on the screen real quick, Martin, if you can drop that banner. And then what did you want to drop?
I was going to say this too, with you hitting up people for pre-sales. There's a lot of musicians in the scene. Hit them up. It sounds stupid, but like, musicians will support musicians. It's kind of like the circle of like, you support me, I support you. It doesn't have to be like a hostage thing, but it works out naturally that way a lot of the times.
And that's actually true. I'm giving tips as you're giving tips, but like, I'll buy like bands merch, and then they'll buy our merch. So it's like, would you give someone $25 for them to give you $25 back? But now both of your bands are elevated, and you got sales, you got shows. So, I learned that like, long time ago. Arson Scholar Girls, Heavy Low Low, like those days and stuff. And now I'm still friends with them. And so when Obsolete Man posts stuff, like, we're mailing stuff to them, and vice versa. And even with, I got to drop Spite again, like, they're doing it. And I still talk to Darius, and stuff's coming. It's like, so build those relationships. Reach out to Casey. Reach out to me. Joel is all over the internet. Reach out to him. Like, it's not hard. And just don't be afraid to build those relationships. Go to those shows and meet those people. Casey, give me one word to describe how you're feeling about the episode, and then one word of advice on how to have a successful relationship to become a fiance and married.
I'm honored that you brought me on. You were a big influence back in the day, watching 5 Characters, and just be honest. Just like, and don't try to act fake. Don't try to be better than you are. Explain your flaws, and just have that open communication.
I love it. Martin even let it go a little bit longer because Martin wants to know some of this dating advice too. So I appreciate Casey. I'll let you know when this is airing. PinUp, you guys are doing it. Keep doing it. Casey, we're gonna have to have episode 2, man. I love this. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I'd be stoked to come back.
All right.